Welcome to Vegas Hub here on PRConnectionsRadio.com, the voice of new media, here in the sports entertainment capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm your host, Ian Rickelli. So, when you are watching a certain NHL team, regardless of who it is, regardless if it is your Vegas Golden Knights, or maybe it could be one of the other 31 teams in the NHL, a conversation that I really like hearing and a conversation that we're really going to be talking about on tonight's show is defense, defense, defense. Because I was having a conversation with somebody a while ago, and we were talking about how many NHL teams would say your best player is a defenseman. Like, if you sat back and you actually analyzed every single NHL team, how many of them would you say the best player on that organization is a defenseman? Because there was a show we did here on Vegas Hockey Hub where I made suggestions on who is the best player on the Vegas Golden Knights. I made arguments about who was the best player the Vegas Golden Knights have on their organization. And one of those arguments was defenseman Shea Theodore. All right, I made an argument that defenseman Shea Theodore is the best player on the Vegas Golden Knights organization. He's the best they got. But that really popped up a question, a very important question, and that is, in the NHL, how many players, how many teams could you say their best player is on the defensive side of the puck? Because I'm going to exclude goaltenders, by the way, because if it was goaltenders, it would be half the league if you included defensemen and goaltenders. But when I broke down all 32 NHL teams, I came up with 9. I came up with 9 teams that you could say, you know what, the defenseman is the best person on this team. The defenseman is the future. It is the face of the franchise out in the NHL. And I'm going to build this up first before I get into the Vegas Golden Knights, before I talk about the Vegas Golden Knights and how the defense is the strength of the Vegas Golden Knights, how defense is the best part about Vegas. I'm going to set that up in a second, but I want to get to this. There are 9 defensemen that I would look at and say, okay, you are the best player in that organization. If they don't have you, your organization does not have your best player. For starters, I would actually go to Buffalo and talk about Rasmus Dahlin. Now, yes, you have Tage Thompson. Yes, you have Owen Power, Alex Tuch, Peyton Krebs. You have a lot of talent like Mattias Samuelsson out in Buffalo. However, Rasmus Dahlin is still your top line defenseman. Rasmus Dahlin is a guy you drafted first overall a couple of years ago out there in Buffalo. And more importantly, when it comes to Rasmus Dahlin, he is someone who you could really say is one of the best players on that organization and someone that you could really build that team around long term. So Rasmus Dahlin, I would have him. That would be 1. You could really make an argument that Cale Makar is the best out there in Colorado. You could make an argument for Cale Makar. You could make an argument for Charlie McAvoy out there in Boston as someone who is the best player on that team coming from the defensive side. But let me give you one that I actually think is an absolute, and that's Miro Heiskanen out there in Dallas. You know, he is a player that you could examine and see the impact he has out in Dallas. Tyler Seguin, Jamie Benn, they are not the players they once were. Jason Robertson is a solid player, but I don't think he's the best yet. Jake Oettinger, he is good, but he is not there yet. So I would toss them to the side. So I would leave with a second player. I said Rasmus Dahlin is my first. A second person that I could very well make an argument for is Detroit Red Wings' Moritz Seider. All right, not only has he had an excellent start to his career, his first 2 seasons in the NHL, but Moritz Seider is a phenomenal defenseman, 5-tool talent, someone who's a true 200-foot skater in the NHL. He's a player that makes an impact in the NHL. So Rasmus Dahlin would be one. Moritz Seider would be a second one that I could really make an argument for that he is the best player on that team. You know, I will also lean towards the argument that there's an organization out there that does have another situation where your defenseman really is the best player on that organization. And the Vegas Golden Knights have arguably a 3-headed monster in defense when it comes to Alex Pietrangelo, when it comes to Shea Theodore, and when it comes to Zach Whitecloud. Okay, Brayden McNabb is a solid veteran at this point, but most people do not consider him the best defenseman in Vegas at this point. He was in year 1, year 2, but into year 6 and beyond, he has not been that guy. So the Vegas Golden Knights having a triplet of excellent defensemen with the Vegas Golden Knights is a fantastic situation to have. So I want to get into why the defense is the biggest part of why the Vegas Golden Knights have been so successful. And I'm actually going to start out with this guy right here, and that is Zach Whitecloud, the young 25-year-old who's been with the Vegas Golden Knights since the very beginning. After being an undrafted free agent, after being signed by the Vegas Golden Knights, playing with the Golden Knights at the age of 20, Zach Whitecloud has blossomed. He has developed. He has become a solid defenseman in the Vegas Golden Knights system. Zach Whitecloud last year led all Golden Knights defensemen in plus-minus. Zach Whitecloud is a player that you have to watch out here in Las Vegas. Now, yes, because he is the youngest out of the bunch I'm going to talk about, is he going to make mistakes? Yes, he's going to. Is there going to be times where he is not going to be in the right zone and he is going to make mistakes and leave a 2-on-1 situation open? Yes, he's going to. But the positive of Zach Whitecloud is he has time to become a great defenseman. The positive of Zach Whitecloud is that he is going to become one of the best defensemen the Vegas Golden Knights have in their organization. Because not only can he pass the puck around and he's able to get it to the open defender, but when it comes to Zach Whitecloud and your Vegas Golden Knights organization, he has the ability to get better and better and better in Vegas. So you have Zach Whitecloud as someone who could really build the Vegas Golden Knights in terms of defense. You also have Brayden McNabb. You have a player that has really been the reliable, consistent rock of Vegas Golden Knights defense. Through 6 seasons and hopefully for a lot more, Brayden McNabb has been the guy the Vegas Golden Knights have been able to rely on. It doesn't matter if you put him with Nate Schmidt, if he made it work. It didn't matter if you put him with Shea Theodore, he makes it work. It doesn't matter if you put him with Alec Martinez, he makes it work. It doesn't matter if you put him with a young Zach Whitecloud, he makes it work. Brayden McNabb is an example of somebody who knows how to play defense. He is an example of a veteran in the NHL who knows his role and he does it perfectly. And then you have these two right in front of me. You have your 2 best defensemen the Vegas Golden Knights have on the roster. You have Alex Pietrangelo, the Super Bowl, Stanley Cup, World Series, NBA Final champion out there at the St. Louis Blues, and that was Alex Pietrangelo. And yes, he signed that massive deal, that $8.8 million deal to come to Las Vegas. I broke it down in that show against Shea Theodore. No, I do not believe he is the best defenseman on the team. But do I think Alex Pietrangelo is a top 20 defenseman in the NHL? Absolutely. I do. I think Alex Pietrangelo is someone who you could see as a top 20 talent in your NHL. Alex Pietrangelo has the footwork, he has skill, the eye test, he has the hockey IQ. Alex Pietrangelo can do it here in Las Vegas. He's been doing it for a while, and he's going to keep doing it again and again and again. And lastly, Shea Theodore. I mean, honestly, I could just plug a recent episode where I talked about how Shea Theodore is the best player on the Vegas Golden Knights. I could pretty much just promote it and say, hey, if you want my opinion on Shea Theodore, all you got to do is watch that video. Shea Theodore has become the best defenseman the Vegas Golden Knights have. He has become the best anchor the Vegas Golden Knights have in that organization. So, you have Zach Whitecloud, you have Alex Pietrangelo, you have Brayden McNabb, you have Zach Whitecloud. But how about we talk about the rest of them, shall we? How about we very briefly discuss the rest of the Vegas Golden Knights and that organization, because not only do they just have three of the best defensemen you probably have on a single team, they have pieces that they have built with that organization. You have Alec Martinez, who came over from the Los Angeles Kings, came over after winning not one but two Stanley Cups, and he has become a reliable veteran, a presence in the locker room. You have a young, up-and-coming defenseman in Nick Hague, who has been able to overcome certain things. His size, his ability. I mean, it's incredible what Nick Hague has really been able to do in the NHL in his limited time there. In his size and his frame, he should be a great player for Vegas for years to come. Ben Hutton is a guy in his late 20s. The Vegas Golden Knights picked up Ben Hutton during their injury-riddled season they had in 2021, 2022. But the dividends Ben Hutton has produced is incredible. Ben Hutton, he can drop the gloves. He can fight somebody if he has to. Ben Hutton can get up there and he can make moves. He can make decisions. And more importantly, because of how many years Ben Hutton has been with the Vegas Golden Knights, he is someone that you can sit back and you can look and go, you know what? Ben Hutton was a experienced veteran and a good positive for the Vegas Golden Knights. Ben Hutton has become a defenseman that you can put on your bottom six, and he knows what's going to be doing in Las Vegas. Ben Hutton is a guy that could become a reliable rock for Vegas for the next couple of years. You also have the 25-year-old Russian from the KHL and Danny Miromanov, who has been performing at an exceptional level every place he has gone. He has performed out there in Russia, which got him his ticket to the NHL. He has played for the Henderson Silver Knights out in the AHL, and he has performed in there in Henderson. I mean, Danny Miromanov doing his stuff with Caden Korczak, with Braden Packle. He showed in Henderson, at the Dollar Loan Center, at the Orleans Arena, you name it. He can become a bottom six defenseman. He could be a bottom line defenseman in the Vegas Golden Knights if they have to. In his 11 games that he has played in the NHL, all of them with Vegas, by the way, he has been able to not turn over the puck that often. He doesn't have a negative plus minus, which is good for a young defenseman. And he also knows how to do his role. The point I want to make about the Vegas Golden Knights is that their defense knows how to play defense. The Vegas Golden Knights defensive pairings know that they cannot turn over the puck as often. They cannot make mistakes. They cannot make as many errors as they did in the past. That thanks to Logan Thompson having a good rookie season in the start of his career, you have a little bit of leeway, but you still have to be reminded that you do not have a future Hall of Famer in Marc-Andre Fleury anymore. You do not have a decade-long veteran in Robin Leonard in net anymore. You now have a young 25-year-old rookie goaltender who, yes, is going to make the periodically rookie mistake, but has so far looked like a veteran in the crease. So the Vegas Golden Knights defense is having to play what I like to call keep away. The Vegas Golden Knights are going to have to make sure that nobody gets in the crease, nobody gets in the middle and tries to disrupt and interrupt Logan Thompson from making incredible saves out there in Las Vegas. So this is Vegas Hockey Hub here on PRConnectionsRadio.com, the voice of new media, here in the sports entertainment capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada. I want to very quickly mention all the shows here on PR Connections Radio. I want to talk about a show called The Sports Angle. It's on every Friday night, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern. They were talking about the MLB postseason in a show. Incredible work. I definitely recommend watching that. You also had We Got the Power. So if you're someone who's into politics, if you're someone who's into talking about the government and all that, Brian Gardner, We Got the Power. Excellent show. You also have another show by Brian Gardner called So You Want to Be a ... where he interviews people, he brings people on his show, and they talk about their professions and what they've done in their careers. It is an amazing show. I highly recommend everybody go watching that. Also, Cozy Stone. I watched the most recent episode that Cozy Stone put out on PR Connections Radio. Fantastic work. I'm actually going to leave links down below. So if anybody wants to check out the content here on PR Connections Radio, you want to check out Cozy, you want to check out Brian, you want to check out Ann Shirley, you want to check out Guy Dawson and all the work he does on PR Connections Radio, definitely go check all that out. I highly endorse it. Now, back to what the Vegas Golden Knights are doing on defense. I've talked in the first 15 minutes about who they have now. I have talked about what the Vegas Golden Knights have, and that's the 8 current defensemen who play for the Vegas Golden Knights. But what I didn't discuss was the 8 defensemen waiting in the minors for a call-up from the Vegas Golden Knights. The 8 defensemen that you should really be focusing on are these young 19, 20, 21, 22-year-old defensemen that I say on record will get their shot with the Vegas Golden Knights at some point. So Leighton Ayak, 21-year-old defenseman for the Vegas Golden Knights. He was a former third-round pick by the Vegas Golden Knights in 2019. Came from the Ohio State Buckeyes University out there in NCAA hockey. Now, in his first season playing professional hockey, he put up 6 points, only 32 games. But him going into his third season playing professional hockey, and with him only being 21 years old, he has a bright future, and he should be able to grow as time goes on. You also have Peter Delabatore, who was a 6th-round pick in 2018. He was a 22 years old. He's also in his third season for the Henderson Silver Knights. And he actually had 20 points in his second professional season playing for the Vegas Golden Knights. And he's had a positive plus-minus every single year he has been in minor league hockey. So if the Vegas Golden Knights need somebody that can have a positive influence on the back end, if they need someone on the blue line that's not going to be turning over the puck that much, Peter Delabatore could definitely be someone to watch out for. And then you have a defenseman that showed up and impressed during the training camp of 2022. For the training camp of that offseason, there was this 19-year-old who was an undrafted free agent, and his name was Joe Fleming. Joe Fleming earned a 3-year rookie contract with the Vegas Golden Knights, a 3-year deal, $750,000 contract to play for the Vegas Golden Knights. But it's an amazing story how Joe Fleming had to earn his opportunity. He was an undrafted college free agent. He joins the Golden Knights in training camp. He wins his job, and he becomes a member of the Golden Knights development system here in Henderson. And he already has 1 point in 5 games already. So he is actually showing incredible progress in his young career as a professional hockey player. So continuing down the line, you got Danny Chaka, who was their second-round pick in 2021. This guy, 19 years old, defenseman from Russia. He actually just joined the OHL and had a 39-point season in 53 games playing in the OHL. He has not made his leap over to America yet to play professional hockey. He has been playing in the KHL for CSKA Moskva, and he also played in the World Juniors with Russia. So it'll be interesting to see at 19 years old, the second-round pick for the Vegas Golden Knights, if he's actually going to be able to come over to America and play for the Vegas Golden Knights. You have Connor Cochran, who was a fifth-round pick by the Vegas Golden Knights in 2018. He is on the last year of his rookie deal. But last season in the ECHL, his second season playing professional hockey, he had 20 goals in 41 games while playing in the ECHL. He's going to be playing in the Henderson Silver Knights organization for the 2022-2023 season. For the most part, we'll see how he does in that situation. And then you have Zachary Hayes, who's actually the oldest out of the bunch. He was an undrafted college free agent back in 2018. Now, Zachary Hayes, this is going to be his third season playing in the AHL. He actually played a few games for the Vegas Golden Knights over the past couple of years. But it's interesting to see what he does as a 23-year-old and as someone who is actually the oldest out of the defensemen that are currently playing in Henderson. Lucas Cormier, the third-round pick by the Vegas Golden Knights, the 20-year-old back in 2020. He is on his middle end of his deal with the Vegas Golden Knights. He recently joined Canada for their World Junior Championship run, and he actually put up 81 points in 62 games while playing for the Charlottetown Islanders out in the KMJHL. So you have Lucas Cormier, a guy who is developing really nicely as a defenseman in the Vegas Golden Knights system. But those two I've left for last are your bright spots for Vegas. Your two defensemen that I have left for last are going to be your future in Las Vegas. They're going to be your future in when it comes to the blue line for the foreseeable future. And the first person I'm talking about is someone I believe can be a Zach Whitecloud, someone who could be reliable as Brayden McNabb, and that is Caden Korczak, who was their second-round pick in 2019. The 21-year-old from Saskatchewan, he is on his fourth year being with the Vegas Golden Knights, and his past season playing for the Henderson Silver Knights put up 14 points in 47 games. Actually played a little bit in the playoffs as well for the Henderson Silver Knights, but he also made his NHL debut with the Vegas Golden Knights. Caden Korczak, at only the young age of 21 years old, he has a lot to prove. He has a lot to grow, and I actually think Caden Korczak is going to have a bright future in the NHL. Him and Connor Cochran are two people I can see being a future core of the Vegas Golden Knights down the line. And then lastly, Braden Packle, who's entering his fourth season with the Vegas Golden Knights. He actually had an 11.69 game season with the Henderson Silver Knights and made his debut with the Vegas Golden Knights this past year. So you have Braden Packle, who is a young, up-and-coming 23-year-old. You have Caden Korczak, who is a 21-year-old future superstar in Las Vegas. You have Lucas Cormier, who at 20 years old is still waiting to make an impact. Zachary Hayes, 23 years old, had to scratch and claw as an undrafted free agent to get to Vegas alongside the upcoming undrafted free agent Joe Fleming, the 19-year-old. And then you have the two Russians in Danny Miromanov and in Danny Chaka. So You see the Golden Knights defense now, and you see the Golden Knights defense in the future. And regardless if it's any of the young guys I mentioned, or if it's maybe Zach Whitecloud, maybe it's Brayden McNabb, or it could be two of the best defensemen on the Pacific Division, in Alex Pietrangelo and Shea Theodore. Regardless of who you have as your defenseman out in Las Vegas, the depth is strong in Las Vegas. The amount of defensemen who can step in and play is over 10 for the Vegas Golden Knights. The Vegas Golden Knights do not have to worry about having one defenseman go down and the whole team falls apart. No. If Zach Whitecloud struggles, they have young defensemen who can come in and replace him. If Brayden McNabb gets injured, they can call up a guy like Danny Chaka. They can call up a guy like Caden Korczak, and they'll fill it in, and they will carry the rest of the way out there in Las Vegas. Let's say Alex Pietrangelo misses some time for the Vegas Golden Knights, and they will just move the depth chart up by one, and they will continue to play at an elite level for the Vegas Golden Knights. So, my discussion and my topic for tonight's show is the Vegas Golden Knights have their biggest strength, and that is the defense. Your defense for the Vegas Golden Knights is the best part about the Vegas Golden Knights. The defense is the reason why your Vegas Golden Knights have excelled year after year after year. The defense is no longer the problem in Las Vegas. They're no longer a situation. The Vegas Golden Knights defense is the reason why the Vegas Golden Knights are winning games, game in and game out. So you have a young, up-and-coming goalie who is not making rookie mistakes. That's great. You have a defensive core of about 10 defensemen you could have be playing for the Vegas Golden Knights at any point. That's great. You have an offense of a top 6 that's been scoring goals left and right this season. That's great. You have one of the best head coaches the hockey world has in Bruce Cassidy. You have a team that really can be one of the best in the Pacific Division. That's great. And more importantly, you have a Vegas Golden Knights team that, because they're in Las Vegas, are going to be one of the biggest odds-on favorites to win year after year after year. Let's remind everyone that the Vegas Golden Knights, 6 years in, they haven't had to suffer like Seattle did. Vegas Golden Knights, 6 years in, did not have to suffer like the Columbus Blue Jackets, like Minnesota Wild, like Winnipeg Jets, like Arizona Coyotes. I can keep on going and going. The Vegas Golden Knights are so unique and so rare because they did not have to suffer like every other expansion team. The Vegas Golden Knights, 6 years in, has been one of the best teams in all of hockey, and that is an undisputed fact. So as we're getting towards the end of the show, I'm going to answer the question, is the defense the best part of the Vegas Golden Knights? The answer is yes. So this was episode 5 of Vegas Hockey Hub. I'm your host, Ian Rakelli. Follow me on social media at Ian Rakelli18. Follow the show at Vegas Hockey Hub. And go on all our social medias. Follow us at PR Connections Radio. And do not forget to go to prconnectionsradio.com, the voice of new media, and watch all of the content we have on there, including Vegas Hockey Hub, the Sports Angle, We Got the Power, and Voices of Humanity. So until next time, have a great one. Enjoy the hockey season. Support the Vegas Golden Knights. Go Knights, go! And definitely go support any hockey you can. Doesn't matter if it's junior hockey like the Las Vegas Thunderbirds. Doesn't matter if it's college hockey like UNLV Rebels. Or if it's just minor league hockey like the Henderson Silver Knights. Go out and support hockey. Go Knights!